Reading with your kids.
Hey, so great to see you. Come on in. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We are coming to you from the beautiful Reading with Your Kids studios in the lovely neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. I have Augie the Wonder Dog watching my back, and I have you listening. We're really happy that you're listening. Thank you so much for being part of our beautiful Reading with Your Kids family. We have a wonderful guest for you today. She is the author of Guru Kid, Love to Do. Today we'll be meeting Christina Belogour. Before we invite Christina in to let us know all about Guru Kid, we want to let you know all about the Nature Club. That's right, the Nature Club is sponsoring this episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. The Nature Club is a series of nature-based books for middle grade readers by author and wildlife biologist Rachel Mazer. The Nature Club is made up of a diverse group of 5 friends. Now, each book in the series tells the story of one of the kids and how they approach a challenge of growing up. These challenges include moving, parents divorcing, and health issues. Their stories run in parallel with stories about wildlife and the challenges wildlife face. Challenges like migration, metamorphosis, and foraging for seasonal foods. Each book ends with the kids finding ways to take simple actions to help themselves and the wildlife they love. Readers learn about the natural history of birds, monarch butterflies, bobcats, raccoons, frogs, and bears. I think bears are so cool. At the end of each book, there are discussion questions and a section on additional information about the featured animal. For more information, you can find the Nature Club on Facebook or on Instagram at The Nature Club Books or on the internet at natureclubbooks.com. This episode of the podcast is also brought to you by Mommy's Big Red Monster Truck by Allison Paul Klakowitz. We are so proud that Mommy's Big Red Monster Truck is a Reading with Your Kids certified great read. That means you absolutely know it is going to be fun to read with your kids. Every kid knows that mommies are the greatest. They feed us and they care for us and they love us with all of their hearts. But did you know that they are also so very cool? Well, one little boy knows that his mom is. His mommy drives a big red monster truck, and it is awesome. It bounces and smashes and takes him on amazing adventures all around the USA. In her truck, they can do anything and go anywhere. And best of all, they do it together. You and your kids are just going to love going on an adventure with Allison Paul Klakowitz's Mommy's Big Red Monster Truck. It is a Reading with Your Kids certified great read, and it is available on Amazon. And this episode of the podcast is also brought to you by the books of Nita Clark and Kathy Doherty. There are no fireflies in Montana. Why do dandelions grow? I hate numbers, and the royal search for shenanigans. We love these books, and we love Nita and Kathy. Nita has such great wisdom, and her daughter Kathy really helps take Nita's stories and bring them to life with her great illustrations. Her latest book, There Are No Fireflies in Montana, talks about the fact that there are no fireflies in Montana, and a young girl who just moved to Montana is curious why that is. She starts to ask the members of her family, and they come up with some really outrageous and fun suggestions as to why there are no fireflies in Montana. You can find all of Anita and Kathy's books on their website, aneatreadpublishing.biz. aneatreadpublishing.biz, and the books are also available on Amazon. That's the books by Nita Clark and her daughter Kathy Doherty. There Are No Fireflies in Montana, Why Do Dandelions Grow, I Hate Numbers, and their middle grade read, The Royal Search for Shenanigans. Joining us from the beautiful Green Mountain state of Vermont, she is, and actually Vermont is like the perfect place to create a book, a series called Guru Kid. Please welcome to the show, Christina Belogour. Christina, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on the show.
really excited. Vermont is one of my favorite places in the world. I've taken my educational magic show to absolutely every corner of the state of Vermont. It's a great place. It's a beautiful place, and it's a really diverse place. I don't believe people understand just how diverse Vermont can be.
It is. It's incredibly unique. You have all sorts of people all living together in this incredible natural beauty. Can't be missed.
And I had the experience, there are a number of schools right on the Canadian border that I've performed at, and I remember many, many years ago, this was before 9/11 and the tightened security at the borders, I was actually traveling from one school to another, both in America, and followed directions that I was given perfectly, or at least I thought it was perfectly, and I came around a corner and I was confronted by a giant sign that said, "Now entering the United States, be prepared to be searched." And I said, "When did I leave the United States?" And then I had to wake up the border guard, and he just kind of waved me through. So,
wow.
Like I said,
That's
it was
classic.
It was
Great
a
story.
different time back then. So tell us about the latest book in the Guru Kids series, Love to Do. Tell us all about it, please.
Well, each book is about a child who is an expert on love and kindness, and usually it's a young adult or an adult in his family or in his world that gets into some trouble, and then he transforms not so magically just by opening his T-shirt and revealing another T-shirt with this kind of guru-looking print on it, that he's on the scene ready to give sage advice. And the themes differ. In the latest book, Love to Do, it's his older sister who's upset over a breakup, and in kind of teen fashion, she's extremely dramatic. "I'll never love again." And he advises her, but you can still have that feeling of love by doing the things that you love. And in her case, she loves to sing. And she's like, "Yeah, but it's not the same as, loving my person." And he's like, "It isn't, but you feel alive, you feel wonderful, you feel great. And isn't that those same feelings that love gives you?" I actually based the story off of a counseling client that I had who, I wanted to write something for kids like her. She had a very dark childhood, and, without going into details, the thing that offered her some light and some hope was her singing, and that she was allowed to sing. And eventually it brought her out of her abusive home and gave her a scholarship and got her out into the world. And it was really a rescue for her. And that's kind of the backstory of why I wrote the book. That there are kids who need encouragement and need to find love sometimes in unique places. Not every parent is wonderful or skilled. And I also write the books for the parents too, because they go through hard times, and I know we all could use some reminders about what love is, what kindness is. I really want these books to be, one reviewer on Amazon said they're keepsakes, and I just love that idea that it's something that you hold on to and grow up with, and that they're messages that you keep for a lifetime.
Yeah, as you're describing your inspiration for the story and also describing the messages, I'm hearing this and realizing that these are messages that we do need throughout our lives, but they have different meanings in different points in our lives too. Right.
It can change. It's flexible. Obviously, the book that I wrote, it's very simple. There's nothing dark in it. It's just you love to sing. And for another kid, there's some activities in the back, asking the kids, well, what do you love to do? And each one each in the series sort of either has a game or an activity that they can continue beyond the book and apply it to their lives, and also play with it and have fun with it and have conversations with their caregivers.
You know, as you were describing it, I find it interesting that you talk about a very typical teen situation in a picture book format. Did you specifically want to talk about it through picture, through the simple genre of a picture book, or and as you were making that choice, were you worried that, you know, maybe some of the kids who are older who really need this message won't look at a picture book? They might think, oh no, this is for little kids.
Oh yeah, no, my books are for ages 4 through 6, and they're really intended to kind of lay developmental foundation for love and kindness, that they can then remember when they're older, when they are that teen. They'll remember, oh, I had that book, and what was the message? And I think that the people that are reading with their kids, whether it is the older sibling or the teacher or the librarian or the caregiver, that they'll pick up on these messages too. They won't pick them up for themselves. They'll say, oh, this is for, you know, my granddaughter or for my son. But the adults are reading to their kids and still getting benefit of the message too, I think.
Yeah, that is absolutely one of the things that I remember most fondly about reading with my kids. Now, it's been an awful long time since I was curled up reading picture books with my kids. But there were moments that I had a hard time getting through some of the books, either because it was, just really emotional, and I find myself trying to hide my tears, or and then realizing, let your kids see you cry. It's okay. But then
the Giving Tree did it for me. That was just, to this day, remember the message of that book. And I think as adults, we all have that book, that one thing.
So I'm taking it that reaction to the Guru Kid has been really positive.
It has. It's available only on Amazon right now, and there's no website, there's no Facebook page yet. I'm hoping to offer the Guru Kid t-shirts in the future so that kids of those ages can really feel like a Guru Kid as well, which is my hope, that they play with the themes and ask the questions that are in the books and do the activities, and that maybe they also want to feel like, oh, I'm the wise one. I'm the expert at love and kindness too, and really makes kids feel special.
One of the things I love about this is what you're talking about. Excuse me. The Guru Kid is a different kind of superhero. The Guru Kid's superpower isn't being able to fly or beat up monsters or bad guys, bad girls. The Guru Kid has that wisdom and that love, and I think it's wonderful to start helping kids understand that ability to love, that ability to be wise and to share that wisdom is a pretty special superpower, and it's actually a lot more realistic to have that power.
It is. It's realistic, and I think it's way more powerful than any of the magical ones, because they can really make a difference in their families, in their neighborhoods, in their schools. The first one is about the father gets mad at his mother, the Guru Kid's grandmother, who's living with them apparently. And he helps his dad be a little more sympathetic to his mom. And it comes out of my own personal experience of being frustrated, and especially parents of young children are very stressed out, or can be at times. And for kids to kind of, they don't miss a beat. They see what's going on. And for them to be equipped to do something about it and be reminders of love and kindness in the world, I think is a really important message.
Really, really important message. And it is It is a message that I think kids, especially young kids, are naturally equipped to kind of share with us.
Absolutely. Yeah, they are. They are naturally equipped to remind us as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, you also wrote Guru Kids Loving Animals. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that was based on a conversation I had with a friend of mine who couldn't stand her boss, and called her boss the equivalent of a stubborn mule, and with a different word. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I counseled her at the time and said, you know, if your boss was a mule, you wouldn't expect her to be any different than be stubborn. And you would have more patience and understanding of her limitations. So I wrote this book for kids that when you have trouble loving someone, sometimes it's easier to think of them like they're an animal. Like, oh, what animal does this person remind you of? Are they stubborn like a mule, or do they hiss like a cat? And that way we are more accepting of just who they're made to be. You know, some people like a cat, they'll hiss when they're upset, or they'll be stubborn like a mule. And it's just another lesson in empathy and how to achieve that empathy and thinking, you know, I think it's one of the characters trips over a dog and just embraces the dog. Oh, you're so cute. You know, I tripped over you. But when the mom's stuff is in his way, he gets all upset and angry. Mm-hmm. And the kid's like, see, if you would think of her more like you do our dog, you would think you would be more forgiving. And that's kind of the message of the way we love animals is the way we can also love the adults in our lives.
That's a really, really powerful lesson, again, for everyone. I remember one of the things one of the things I learned when I was in social work before becoming an educational magician was just trying to help my clients understand that we really don't have any power to change others. We have the power to change ourselves, but we can't change others.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not like we don't have the skill. We have the skill, we just apply it to the animals. I mean, Americans tend to love their pets, you know, just gush and spoil them rotten. So we have the capacity. We just have to learn to expand the capacity to the people in our lives.
Now, have you ever had a situation where somebody became upset that you're suggesting that kids look at the people in their lives like they look at their animals? I get what you're saying, but has anybody taken it the wrong way and saying, well, that's incredibly insulting?
No, not yet. I mean, all of the books have a little bit of a sense of humor in them. And I think even if someone were upset, and I suppose it's all in the delivery and the tone, but the intention, I think, is what's important, is that if it helps somebody have more empathy to you, then it should be a win, right? It's about making peaceful relationships and quality relationships and easier relationships.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really difficult. I know one of the things that was frustrating for my daughter when she was younger, when she would come home and, you know, there would be these kids who just weren't, and it was always the girls in her class who just weren't acting right, you know, and they, you know, and it was it was really hard for my daughter. Why can't they be nicer? Why can't they be kinder? And it's like, I don't know, but you're not going to change it. So, you know, you can't change them.
Well, then we would talk about like a herd mentality, right? If we were really like applying the theme of that book. And that happens too. Some of the kids, my son too, he is an angel alone, but when he's with his friends, he sometimes is a different person.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be the fourth book.
Well, I was going to ask you about future topics. Have you kind of outlined where you want to take the series?
So far, they're all about love in some form, and the Guru Kids Love to Do just came out, was just published, is just made available. So I haven't worked on the next one yet, but there will be a next one. There will be many, many more.
I love that you're talking about love in your books, and I think it's a really important. It's a word that I've gotten in trouble for using. In fact, there was a time in Vermont, not where you are, but north of you. I remember being performing and doing a show about substance abuse prevention, and talking to the kids about, I want my kids to make healthy choices because I love them and I'd miss them terribly if something happened to them. And I know your families, and I use the plural, families love you too, the family you live with and your family here at school. And after that performance, I was torn apart by some of the teachers and the guidance counselor at that school telling me that it was totally inappropriate for me to say that the kids at that school were loved. And they said, oh, some of these kids come from abusive families. And I said, well, yes, I understand that. That's why I used the plural and specifically said, that your school family. And at that point, another teacher jumped up and said, well, some of these kids are bullies, and that's not love, and we don't want the kids to think that that's loving behavior. And I said, well, no, of course not. But you guys all love them. We want to let them know that the teachers love them. And at that just blew their minds to say it. And they responded by saying, we're professionals. We don't love these kids at all. We're just here to teach them.
Wow.
And at that
Too bad
point,
you didn't have that on recording. I'm sure a lot of people would withdraw their kids from school.
At that point, I just tapped out and I said, well, thank you very much for your input. I realized at that moment that I wasn't changing anybody, that all I could do was change myself and leave. So,
right. Well, obviously, there's a great need for the message of love in the world.
Absolutely.
Our teachers and committee members in the schools are scared of the word using love. That's sad.
It is, and I was really gun shy for a long time, and I remember I would used to go up and say, hey, could I just mention to kids that they're loved at schools that I'd visit, and a lot of them. A lot of principals say, no, we'd rather you not use that word. You tell them that they're cared for. Tell them, and I'm like,
exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's, well, it's sad that you have to play with words and use synonyms when they basically mean the same thing. They're cared for.
Yeah. And I remember being at one school saying, hey, I love meatballs. I love French fries. I love SpongeBob. But you know what? I can't say I love you. It's just...
That's sad. What a sad statement about our culture where it is right now. Mm-hmm. Actually, it reminds me of the first book that I wrote where it's about everybody, no matter how scary looking or how mean, everybody loves something. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of a point of empathy. And there is even... like a scary-looking construction worker, and it's kind of a game that the Guru Kid plays with his mom. What do you think that person might love? So he imagined that the scary-looking construction worker who's yelling at his team, that he probably sits at home at night with his big, fluffy cat in his furry slippers, And again, it's like, everybody, no matter how crotchety or cranky or scared school committee person, they do love something and someone.
Absolutely. Well, I love this conversation that we're having, and I imagine that some folks might want to keep the conversation going and find out more about you. You mentioned that the Guru Kids series is available on Amazon, and that's the only place it's available right now. Are there places online where folks can connect with you?
Not yet. I have to build my pages, Facebook page, I guess, because it's still relatively new and just coming out with everything. But if people just connect first of all through Amazon, typing in Guru Kid and my last name, Belogour, all of the books will pop up, and then they should stay tuned for more and better things, including websites and pages and things.
Oh, that's so much I bet you had no idea that when you sat down to write a children's book that there'd be all this other work involved after it was published.
Yeah, no, I need somebody to help me out with that stuff, because the marketing of it is not something that I'm really interested in. I just want to connect with kids and with people, you know?
Understandable. And
which is frequently for artists, I think. They're not business people.
Absolutely. Well, we want to encourage everybody to go to Amazon and check out Christine Belogour's Guru Kids series. There are 3 books in the series. The latest one is called Everybody Loves, and there's also Love to Do and Loving Animals.
Loving Animals.
Yeah. We've been talking to the author, Christina Belogour. Christina, thanks so much for being part of our show.
Thanks a lot.
Please be sure to join us for the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest will be J.K. Coy. She will be back to tell us about her brand new book, The Best Trip Ever. I love J.K.'s books. They tell stories from a very unique perspective, and I think you're going to absolutely love this new book. That's the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Hey, if you would like to be a guest on the podcast, it is fun, it's easy, and it gives you the chance to tell thousands of people about your fantastic book. All you need to do is to go to our website, readingwithyourkids.com, click on the contact button, let us know about your great book. We will let you know the next easy steps. I want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful. We want to thank our guest, Christina Belogour. Be sure to check out Guru Kid, Love to Do. Just a fantastic, fantastic book. We also want to thank our sponsors, Kathy Doherty and Nita Clark, the books of Nita Clark and Kathy Doherty. Check them out today. There are no fireflies in Montana. Why do dandelions grow? I Hate Numbers and The Royal Search for Shenanigans. We also want to thank Rachel Mazer. Be sure to check out her Nature Club series of nature-based books for middle grade readers. Rachel is a fabulous author. She is also a wildlife biologist, so she knows about what she's writing. And, of course, we want to thank Allison Paul Plattworks. Check out her Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read, Mommy's Big Red Monster Truck. Thank you so much, Allison. Also want to thank my amazing producer, Fatima Khan. Be sure to check out Fatima's blog. You can find it at readingwithyourkids.com. Also want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support that she gives me, and we want to thank you. Thank you so much for being part of our beautiful Reading with Your Kids family. Be sure to connect with us on Facebook, facebook.com/readingwithyourkids. On Twitter, you can find us at Magic Jedley, and on Instagram, it is at Reading with Your Kids. I also want to thank you for subscribing to the show wherever you find your podcast. We love the iHeartRadio app. That's a great place to find the show. You can also find us on Spotify, on Stitcher Radio, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you find podcasts. Thanks so much for subscribing, and thanks for leaving a 5-star review. That really helps other people find the show. And most of all, I want to thank you for making the world a better place. You do that every time you read with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.